Hi and welcome to the Evolve CEO podcast. I'm your host Greg Gillies, and this podcast is designed for high achieving CEOs, business founders and entrepreneurs who are looking for ways to expand beyond their business accomplishments, their life and their relationships. We will be taking a deep dive into all topics relating to success, love and happiness, and we will be talking a lot around healing, alignment and manifestation, which is the key to actualizing ourselves and reaching our highest potential. Look forward to you tuning in to this week's episode. Hi and welcome to the Evolve CEO podcast. I'm your host Greg Gillies.
And I'm Tracey Gillies.
And today we're going to be talking about spirituality, spiritual health, and all things spiritual. This is Tracey's field of expertise. I have learned so much about over my healing and self-discovery journey, which is now a key part of my life, key part of our life, key part of our clients' lives. So I'm going to hand it over to Tracey because she's the expert, and then I'll just join in on the conversation.
Okay, I don't know where to start. It's such a big topic.
It is a big topic.
So it is one of the topics that I could just talk about all day, and I just love. We are multidimensional beings, and we are spiritual beings and energetic beings, and we have energy at a number of different levels. So maybe I'll just explain the first three dimensions might help. So the third dimension, everything is physical and we are separate. The fourth dimension is the level of mind and, radio frequencies here, thought, all of these things. And then the fifth dimension is actually, it's the start of our spiritual aspects and our higher self. And it's in alignment with our heart space. It's also in alignment with the natural world. And so it's actually classed as the start of our spiritual journey when we come in and we realize that we're actually more than our mind. So people can actually have, this is also something that I do for people, is a soul vibration rate. Now, what that is that when I have a soul vibration rate of around in the fours, it means that I am almost like functioning at the same level as mind. It would be hard for me to realize what is my mind and what is kind of like the truth and my spiritual aspects. And then again, as I said, it's classed the start of my spiritual journey when I realize I'm more than this mind and I start to step into this place. And it's about taking more responsibility for what I create for myself. So again, a lot of people talk about manifestation, they talk about flow state, they talk about, universe attracting all of these things. The thing is, the universe doesn't actually judge us. It just mirrors back to us what energetics we're putting out. And the way to raise our vibration is through the healing process. So there's something called the process of elimination. We spoke about one aspect of it when we talked about the developmental stages of the mind in the first one, in the previous podcast. And so it's like I take on all these identities and all of these beliefs about myself. A lot of them aren't even my own. Again, parents and then influences and all of these things. And there comes this point in life, it's around sometimes 18 and up, but some people do it way later. I think I did it in my 30s or something, so later. But it's like I start to go and look at all the things that I'm not. And again, it's the process of taking away all the untruths to almost come back to who I truly am. And the truth of who I am exists at this higher level of self, my soul, who I'm here, what I'm here to experience, my passion, my purpose, maybe even my gifts. So when I step into that place of almost elevating myself and raising my vibration, I will start to attract better quality things to me. So even manifestation, I've heard some silly things from people say you just put manifestation out into the quantum. You just put it out there and you just kind of get it back. Doesn't work that way. So another thing is that level of self, the spiritual side of things, works via intention. So an intention is a direct focus of consciousness about what I want to create. And let's hope it is positive, because we do want to create with the positive intention. But again, if I was to sort of have a positive intention, it's like I have to dismantle the old or find all the pieces around it that oppose it to release them, to heal them, so that that new intention can manifest. And a manifestation has to be spoken, sorry, not manifestation, an intention has to be spoken aloud. Again, there's a very good reason. Imagine if all our thoughts just started to create. That would be horrible, because again, the mind, oh my God, can be a very scary place. So I have to be really clear about what I want to create. And the more intentional I am with myself, the more support and guidance and spiritual help that I will get. So even in a sense, I can almost kind of develop that skill and become more intentional. So I think a lot of people, especially in the business world, we see a lot of people maybe have been intentional without realizing it, but intentions aren't really the same as goals. We could be intentional in all other areas of our life. So emotional intelligence is a huge thing. You know, all of these other areas about what do I want to create for myself. We're not actually meant to think our life, we're meant to feel it. So what do I want to create, like cultivate energetically for myself, the qualities? I think we get stuck in this trap that it's like, once I have this physical attainment, I will find fulfillment, I'll be happy. But it wasn't really the physical thing we were looking for. It was what that physical thing represents and like the energetic quality. And again, day to day, we could bring in a lot of those qualities ourselves through other things. I'm kind of thinking, what do I say now? Do you want to add something here?
It'd be great to, why don't you share with people how you actually created the ability, because a lot of people are moving into spirituality. A lot of people are wanting to know more about it. A lot of people are wanting to tune in and find their higher selves. But it's also becoming quite a big, fast-growing industry that people are starting to wonder, who do I trust? Who do I believe? Like, who's got the right information? So maybe you could share just a little bit of journey about how you created these very, very high spiritual healing, connection, and multidimensional kind of gifts.
My journey feels a little bit scary, to be honest, and a bit big. Sometimes it's a bit of a story to talk about. I didn't used to be this person. In fact, I didn't even know that I had any spiritual gifts. I didn't even know that energy kind of existed beyond this kind of what you see. And again, I wasn't very well in myself. I didn't treat myself very well, didn't realize how my mind affected my body and all of these other things going on. And through this process, I was looking to heal myself because I kept getting told that I needed to go on medication. And I was like, I'm not depressed. I know that there's more to this picture. Something's missing. So I actually went and originally studied advanced holistic kinesiology, which is a therapy that almost will tap into something called your innate intelligence. And it's this place that you can access that knows everything. It's like this amazing wisdom. It knows what you need to be in optimal physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So I started out training in this therapy, and to be honest, it felt like opening Pandora's box. It was just so intense. It's almost like I had so much to heal. But as I moved through this course, Australia is probably one of the most advanced in the world for this therapy. So the trainer that I trained under would be like, oh wow, world class. And he actually said, it was really strange how much negative entities and energy I had attached to me. And he only knew like the 1% of it. I had another woman that helped me with things. And in the end, I kind of was shown some other information to deal with negative energy attachments, to almost as a way for me to kind of free myself and do more healing. And through this process, wow, it was pretty hard. I kind of discovered that I had these gifts. But at the same time, I wanted to do work on my children. So I wanted to heal them, but they were a lot younger and didn't want to lie still on a table for me. So I started bringing people's energy into my body, or my kids' energies into my body, and working through myself. And it's almost like, if you develop the skills, energy will talk and you can kind of hear it. It has a message. So again, I've studied in all these things to kind of hear these messages. But at the same point, I had these gifts with negative and dark entities, because all blocks and restrictions, even in a human body, will go hand in hand with negative entities. But I used to feel things intently. So when I studied, I remember thinking I had no gifts, and there was people that would hear stuff, or, you know, they might have visions and see stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even feel like I've got any special gifts here. And nearing the end of it, one lady said to me, what are you talking about, Tracey? She said, you feel things so intently. And I went, what? And I didn't even realize that it's called clairsentient. So feeling things in that way is actually a gift, like a sense that people can have. So there's a number of them. So again, there is clear audio. I hear things. Clear cognizance, it's like a clear knowing, it just comes into my mind. You've got clear sentient, you feel things intently. Some people might kind of have that where they're really highly sensitive to, you know, other people and energy. And then there is clairvoyancy, where you see things. There is one, something about smell as well. I'm not sure about that one. But again, a lot of people can look at the spiritual connection and think it needs to look like, you know, they base it on someone else. Oh, but they see things, they hear things. And again, it's like I've got to get to know my connection and how that feels for me. So to start with, I was clear sentient and I feel things, but over time I have developed my other senses. So then I almost got so good at, I started journaling to myself. It's called ghost writing. It's like you can actually kind of clear your mind and actually write from this higher guidance place. And so, right from this higher guidance place. And I started kind of channeling information. So the channeling then turned into, for me, actually hearing it in my head. So now it would be like a medium. I hear things said to me in my mind, and then I do healing work for people off that. I also see things, but I guess the point that I'm trying to say is we all have these abilities because we are, you know, these spiritual beings. But again, it's like developing a muscle. And again, I sort of will say to people, some people go, I want to be more intuitive, but they're not really even listening to their body. You know, anxiety, all of these things kind of coming up for them. It's giving you messages that there's something that you need to address and look at. It's like when a woman's pregnant and they have these cravings. It's like their body will know what it needs. Even that in itself, like our physical body is the gateway to the spiritual. But again, over time, especially developing the skills that I have, my skills with dark energy and dark entities, that's the skill that I have actually can't be learnt. It's like a soul gift. So again, I can do really high work and that's the foundation of it. But a lot of the other things that I have done or can do now, it's like I've developed that in myself. I sort of work with a lot of other spiritual healers that will even kind of ask how I had developed all these things and all of this. And again, it's like this relationship with self that's a sacred relationship. It takes time. You know, a lot of people would love to have this energetic connection within themselves or, you know, hear that intuition more clearly. But it's like, how much time do you dedicate to that space? And again, it requires the quiet space to do it.
So talk to the listeners around some of the things that come up with clients, because some of the people that we've worked with, they've got high soul vibrations, right? We've got a lot of extremely successful business leaders as clients who already had very, very high soul gifts, but were maybe not aware or connected to it. And it gives them the ability to create amazing success in the physical world, but we can also have clients that disconnect from their physical body because they've just got this massive energy and this big spiritual guidance. And so maybe you should talk about that.
Because of the gifts that I have and the work that I've done on myself, I've done lifetimes of work. I'm able to hold like the highest energy through my own physical being. And we often have a lot of clients now, don't we, Greg, that have something called an oversoul. So there's actually a lot of multidimensional beings that want to co-create with humanity. And so they can have these, it will look like specific gifts. It will look like really high manifestation skills and abilities because they have this extra spiritual gift in themselves. But at the same time, some of those energies can be a bit unruly or become dysfunctional in other areas. Like we have a lot of business people, I don't want to say they're sharks, but they're quite good at what they do. They're really high power people. But again, there's almost like some of them become dysfunctional as in there's not that care for almost the humanness or that humanity side of things because they actually have these really high energies that almost kind of need to be brought back into alignment. You know, again, when I'm talking about the spiritual, it's like a lot of people think the spiritual's all love and light, and it's this beautiful place. And there's honestly, the spiritual, like what we can see is only about 1/10 of what truly exists. And there's actually so many energies, different energies, again, multidimensional presence and energies, all of these different things, and really high power beings or energies. Again, sometimes they will be in connection with a human. And so again, there's lots of different things that I do, but someone might have really specific spiritual gifts, but maybe they don't fully understand what that actually means. So again, I don't know, there's kind of lots of different things.
So from my perspective, to tie this in, I didn't not believe, I just didn't understand. Like when old Greg, my old version of myself before I had my breakdown, I just lived my life from my mind. I was controlled by my mind. My ego literally controlled everything. Did that mean that I didn't have intuitive abilities and skills and gifts? No, I did have them. I just wasn't aware of them. I would just think that everything was a coincidence. I didn't understand the intention. I didn't understand the power of intentions. I was just all about goal setting. I was just all about achievement, but I was never fulfilled, and I didn't do any healing. So it was all just this masculine push and drive. And since we've been on this journey, and since Tracey's been healing me, and Tracey's evolved her spiritual gifts, and she's helped me and helped a lot of our clients, to be in this place where you are just in natural flow, you feel in alignment, things manifest and come into your life with ease. It's like a polar opposite world to the old version of myself that believed and was programmed from a young age that I had to hustle, grind, and work for everything. And for me to deserve anything was off the back of me pushing and outworking and hustling anybody else to get there, whether it was climbing the corporate ladder, building a business, winning a sales contract, you name it. It was literally effort for reward. When we understand and we heal and we increase our energetic vibration and we truly start living intentionally and understanding that everything has to be created in the spiritual before it can show up in the physical, we literally have this superpower to create a life beyond your mind or your ego's comprehension. And this is the stuff that we really want people to understand, so that they can actually move more towards their spiritual self. Tracey now wants to jump in.
I do. There's kind of a few trains of thought. It's like we talked about in the other areas, the mind and even the body, how people are stuck in this deep state of stress. When people are stuck in this deep survival stress state, they can only think about themselves. They're like in damage control. And again, the more that I do this healing work, it's almost like this reconnection to these most powerful places in myself. So I spoke about before about the soul vibration rate. And when you go into like the 5th dimension, and as you move through, then there's kind of the 6th dimension, and that would be when somebody's actually living their divinity. It's like they're doing what they're meant to do. Like I love this work that I do because I'm all about truth, and it's like I offer people their truth. So for me, this resonates. And when we're in alignment, like Greg's kind of gifts are communication. He's really great at kind of communicating things, and that's his gifts. And so when you incorporate that and live more in alignment to these soul gifts, and it's how we're meant to show up in the world, we can't help but be successful. It's like those old paradigms of that hustle and grind and just, you know, again, why is it not really working out for me in the way that I want it to? It's because I'm not in alignment. So again, it's like with clients, I always talk about, it's really always this connection that we're looking for. And I do a lot of stuff at soul level. There's literally thousands of things you could do. But one big thing I would do is I do a lot of soul retrieval for people. So it's called soul loss. And there's reasons why that sounds strange. Our soul's so big, we don't actually have access to it all. And there's 2 reasons. And one is through like trauma or the need to heal. So even past lifetime stuff will come into it, or even this lifetime. It's like we're here to get our lessons and we progress as we do it. And then we get to unlock this next kind of part or level within ourselves. And then there's also another reason, is because we're not ready for the directive of our soul yet. again, honestly, we have so much potential and capability, and it's through this process of stepping into truth and self more and more again, that again, it's like I unlock this next kind of even like spiritual gifts, or even just, I don't know, that path and what I'm meant to be doing and how I'm meant to show up in the world. So I love this work we do when we work with really high leadership, because I just see them shift and change. And then it's almost like we'll have people that actually start to kind of pivot or redirect what they're doing in the world to almost serve at a higher level. Again, it's the way that I show up in the world. It's kind of all about doing this healing work. When I actually heal myself, I show up differently in the world, and I actually help to heal the world.
So if you're feeling stuck, or you feel like sometimes you're in flow and you're really intuitive, and then other times you're really stuck and frustrated, there is a direct correlation to your energetic vibration, right? Because when we're stuck and we're frustrated and we're stressed, we've typically pulled ourselves back down into that fourth dimension, which is the vibration and the frequency of the mind. Now, the fourth dimension is also where all, I guess, low vibrational frequencies reside. This is why so many people get drawn into the chaos and hysteria of the news or COVID and all of these events that might not be affecting them personally at the time, but because they're associated to the energy of the event, they have lowered themselves to that energy, which is affecting their mental health. So we always talk about people that you don't have to choose sides in anything. You need to choose the elevated state. And the elevated state is raising your energetic vibration and not tuning in and being so triggered and reactive to low vibrational frequencies, because the majority of the world is living at a low vibrational frequency. Low mental health, low mindset, low physical health, deep survival stress. They are influenced by the news. They are abusing themselves. They're not living their best life. And there's the small percentage of people who are elevating, who are having spiritual awakenings, who are healing their mind, body, and soul, who are living in alignment with their passion and purpose, who are creating businesses that are actually changing humanity. And ultimately, we are all here to self-actualize. We are all here to actually live out our soul's purpose. And if we don't, then the physical body will pass away and the soul will reincarnate, whether you believe that or not. So in this lifetime, it is about awakening and living in alignment with your highest self.
Honestly, the talks on this, we will just continually talk on and on about this topic, because again, it feeds into everything. When somebody is more spiritually connected, you can see it. You can see it in their energy. You can see it in their health. Again, passion and purpose, and kind of living at that higher level and actually bringing that into the world. And, the world needs it more than ever now. There's no better time to be doing this work as well, because it's almost like, I don't know, the energetics, it's kind of almost like needed this forced wake up, or everything's heightening. And again, we've been given so much support if we kind of chose to step into ourselves more.
So I think that rounds up this podcast around spirituality. I just want to ask Tracey to give some more ideas that are maybe broader, or to think differently about spiritual health habits. Obviously, meditation and silence are really key, but is there anything else that you can share with the audience around how they can straight away start to think about their spiritual connection and their spiritual health and how to elevate? Yeah,
I think just getting away from the mind is so powerful. Like, again, that journaling that we talked about, you can write from your mind. It's a very different story to writing from your heart space. Anything where I'm almost tuning into my energy. There's so many amazing practices now, like on YouTube, you can do those kind of Tai Chi, or Qigong is one that I like. It's like running my energy. The more that I almost have my energy in flow, and the more that I kind of get to know my energy, again, it's like I'll be more aware of myself. And we kind of, I don't know, was it this one that we've talked about how we can kind of have, I think it was the mind, sorry, another one, but it's like we can sort of get triggered by things in our life. It's not really even about that thing. It's about something that's happened in the past. It's like a lesson that we need to get. But if we become so reactive and we keep looking at somebody else to either fix it for us or blame someone else, I have no power in that. It's like I have to take full responsibility for all that I've created, because we actually are our own creator and we're our own destroyer. I do love that quote that talks about that unexamined life is not worth living. I think a lot of people know what they want to move away from. They actually feel a little bit powerless at times to create change. But again, it's like if I actually know what I want, it's like reframing it to an intention to the positive, and then looking at these things about how do I move forward, maybe asking yourself better questions. I will say one thing about the spiritual is when we ask questions of ourselves and we want, to find this answer, or we're struggling, often people will ask a question and they want an answer straight away. And if I do that, it's my mind that answers, right? And the mind has only got this memory bank to draw on from the past. So it literally will scan from the past and kind of give you back an answer. Some of these things and these ways of being, you haven't really been them before, or they don't exist yet. So again, it's like I could ask better questions of myself, an open-ended question. Not asking for the answer straight away. How can I be better? What do I need to learn from this situation? How can I change this? Again, it's like I'm asking questions without needing that response instantaneously. And then if I kind of free up space in myself, have you ever had those moments where you might be in the shower or you might be out walking in nature and suddenly that idea, it just comes in and I know the answer? It's like that place is waiting for everyone. So the more that I can cultivate the space to hear those messages or allow them to come in, even that intention of saying I'm open and willing to listen to more than my mind or that space, it just gives the opportunity to have that knowing. But it's when I have the gut feeling, when I have these messages show up, again, before I said intuition is like a muscle, I got to do something with it. It's like if I keep kind of asking for a sign or an answer and then I don't act on it, again, it's like, where can I make these small changes? I also think people think that they need these big things in their life to change something. But again, there's always a small choice. Again, it's like looking at my life in a positive, like what do I want to create, and being more responsible for what I actually am creating for myself.
Beautiful. I hope you got a lot of great information from this podcast around spirituality, our higher spiritual self and our soul, and raising your energetic vibration. So if you like our information, please subscribe, follow and comment so that we can learn what your thoughts are and create new content and new podcasts in the future. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Evolve CEO podcast. If you value the information that is in our podcast, please like, subscribe, and add a review to our podcast page, because it'll help us understand the value that you are receiving, and more importantly, spread the world of this podcast. Also, share it with your friends and your family. Now, every listener of our podcast gets a free gift from us, and this is our 9 Pillars of Success, Love and Happiness life assessment. This is the exact same life assessment that our high-level clients, which are CEOs and business leaders, go through on an annual basis so that they can assess and reflect the past 12 months of their life and then plan their desired outcome for the next 12 months of their life. And this is our gift to you for listening in. So please follow the links below and you'll find the link to the assessment page. You'll also find Tracey and my social media links. We would love for you to connect with us on our social media channels, follow our additional content on there, as we want to provide as much value as we can in the event of helping you create more success, love and happiness in your life. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.